this conversation that we're having here today is not about saucy details of sexual positions or experiences of your physical body. That's not what we're focusing on here. The focus is simply opening and creating the environment for real talk of how you've experienced sex, how you've used sex for connection or for disconnect. It's about naming what's worked and what's not worked mentally, emotionally, and how that's impacted you. We have sex all the time, but yet, just like children, we define who we are based on conclusions we came to and what we were taught from our past. You've had sexual experiences that haven't been good. And what I mean by good is they've either been disappointing, come at a loss of self, come at a loss of hurting someone else, whatever, right? Because it's not about sex. It's about human beings and what we have brought to the table. What were you taught about sex that isn't true? You've come to find out isn't true.
So my mother was, when I asked about sex, she told me it was something that was done to you and that it was awful. She hated it. And I think therefore she was blessed with 3 daughters who were very sexually active at a very, very young age.
So what I'm hearing you say is your mom was shut down sexually. She was taught that sex meant you're automatically going to lose yourself. And I think your mom deserves compassion. And then here she is having 3 girls who are sexual, and it scared the shit out of her. It invited her to face her own fears, and she was ill-equipped, right? That must have been absolutely terrifying for her, right?
Yeah, I think she's never dealt with it. All 3 of us then tried to use it as a weapon to try to take control.
A weapon towards who?
Men, boys.
I cannot even begin to tell you all of the women I have supported who their first sexual experiences were based on some boy who is sex hungry and doesn't even know about the possibility of pleasuring a girl, right? He wants to get the piece and then fuck, what do I do with the feelings and emotions? So I'm going to throw that away and on to the next, because they don't know how to deal with this precious gift that they've been given. And we're not wrong for any of the experiences, but the experiences are not who we are. Someone else in the chat room was taught it was a shameful thing to be judged for, right? One thing to be aware of is shame, right? Shame in our society, our family of origin, and how we own shame as if it's the truth of who we are, as if we need to hold it to keep and be a good girl. We can either use relationships to grow and connect within ourselves, or we can use relationships to lose ourselves. Those are the options. Those are the only options. Okay? All of us hunger, everyone on this planet, all of us hunger for the exact same thing. We all want connection. You were taught that you need to keep your man happy. Yep. At all costs. That's what I was doing, but I also appreciated the low-hanging fruit, that if I got snuggles for 5 seconds before you rolled over and went to sleep, whoo, whoa, I got some cuddles, woo, right?
I grew up in Las Vegas, so there were G-strings on every billboard, and it was all about sex. And then I wasn't, my mom was never home. So it's like, oh, look, that's how you got what you wanted, right? That's how you were desired. That's how you accomplished anything. So everything was about sex appeal. There were no feelings involved in it. It was total sex appeal, total control.
And the story that we were taught, which is a total bullshit lie, is I am my body. Allow yourself to recognize you deserve loving kindness and compassion for your education of your sexuality that honestly had nothing to do with sex often. Someone else in the chat room was taught that you give a piece of your soul to everyone you have sex with, so that you should be careful and scared about who you choose. It's so painful. So I want you to open right here and right now, taking a deep breath, loving on your virgin self and loving on the current version of yourself who didn't always know how precious you are and how innocent you were in not knowing, for not having your pleasure even be considered. It was not really taught to you, but there was an energy of shame and don't disappoint your parents, and being a people pleaser and wanting to use sex or even using sex to get pregnant as a way to get out of the house. Think about how all of that experience was fear-based. Fear that you were going to be hurt by men, fear that you were going to get pregnant. Just recognize, I need to surrender and call my energies back from that. The part that was tough was that I didn't choose the first person who chose to enter my body. And it also feels like shame and guilt that you weren't in a position of protecting yourself and treating yourself like the goddess that you deserve to be. I don't care if you're absolutely shit-faced drunk walking down the middle of the street naked, you still do not deserve to be hurt, touched in ways that are not loving and kind. Go to your heart, feel your feelings. Can you keep your heart open now? That's the invitation. You're touching sadness? Good. Go to your heart and touch sadness. You're touching disappointment? Good. Go to your heart and touch the trigger. Getting intimate with yourself through being intimate with others. How powerful is that? Take a deep breath. Welcome the shame. Let it wash through you. Welcome the truth. Let it wash through you. Welcome the disappointment in yourself. Let it wash through you. Through our vulnerability and our openness, it is our power. But at times when we share our vulnerability in unsafe places, we get punched, sucker punched, gobsmacked. It's painful. Okay? We need to know, are we choosing safe places to share ourselves, to share our body, to share our hearts? Most men have learned about sex through pornography. It's the culture. It's the way that it is. And how awkward is that, right? They've been conditioned to be turned on by something that isn't even real. And often they don't even know how they got there, where they're experiencing the disappointment, the lack of intimacy within themselves, let alone with another person. They're not taught to open their hearts and to live through that heartfelt space. The disconnected asshole who was not open-hearted, loving, and kind, well, you weren't open-hearted and loving, kind to yourself. My mom never denied my dad of sex, and so I wasn't supposed to deny either. Ugh, I just want to run away from this conversation. Of course you do. And keep breathing. If you need to, you can go ahead and hit pause, take a break, whatever. You can put on your blinders and never ever face it again. And you know what? That just keeps you stuck. You're not the victim. You're a creator. We learn through disconnect. Okay, nothing's wrong here. Remember 3 things in a relationship: appreciation for who you are as you are, acknowledgement, I'm amazing, and I might not feel like it today, but I'm still acknowledging I'm amazing, and acceptance. I love you no matter how you're feeling today. Like, if we can't accept ourselves, we sure as heck can't accept someone else's feelings and emotions, and we're often reckless. And if you're not happy, look in the mirror and give her more acceptance, acknowledgement, and loving kindness. She deserves to be appreciated.